Hey yo, it's the Renegade Master. Today we're going to do a Wrestlemania recap. Weekend recap. So Wrestlemania weekend recap. Traditionally, a Wrestlemania weekend recap would include recapping uh I guess the SmackDown before WrestleMania, Hall of Fame, the kickoffs, the WrestleMania night one, night two, NXT's Stand and Deliver, and then the Raw after WrestleMania. But to be honest, I'm not a die-hard wrestling fan anymore. In fact, I've naturally just became a casual fan. I just don't have the patience for the filler content that I always see nowadays. I can understand the perspective of running a wrestling operations. It's probably a bit stressful trying to constantly come up with interesting, just mind bending, just storylines that feel like it's worth investing. Like I can understand that concept is very jarring, especially trying to deal with it per episodes for Raw and SmackDown, as well as creating a long term storylines for like pay-per-views. That could become very stressful. So that's why I don't mind the way WWE is nowadays. I respect it. I think the way they've improved as a company is honestly it's worth praising. But in saying that, the only things that I'll be recapping is just WrestleMania Night 1, Night 2, and then the NXT Stand and Deliver. Because I don't care about Raw SmackDown. To be honest, the most I'll do with Raw SmackDown is maybe watch a highlight here and there, but I just can't be bothered, bro. So yeah, let's get into the reaction. So I'll be honest. Night 1, I missed quite a few matches. I slept in. I think honestly deep down I knew the night one's gonna be pretty ass, so I didn't really pay too much attention to it. But from what I remember, I think I watched the closing sequence for. Let me show you what I'm looking at. This should be fine. Let me just make this bigger. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay. So I remember watching the ending sequence for LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. What I saw, it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I completely missed the War Raiders New Day match, Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Jay Uso versus Gunther, because I believe that was the match that started off the show. Completely missed those. And the matches I saw in full were Ray Phoenix versus El Grande Americano, Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair, and Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. So Ray Phoenix versus El Grande Americano was the first match I saw in full. To be honest, I actually enjoyed that match. I'm also enjoyed it just due to the fact that I'm a fan of Ray Phoenix, and I felt like AEW did him dirty, and I'm just glad that he got to have a singles match at WrestleMania, and then the match was all like it was pretty nice, to be fair. I also like the spot where El Grande Americano did this, like it's kind of like a reverse 450 in a sense, where he just did a backflip with a extra rotation. It looked pretty sick. It looked fucking dope. Um, I am kind of getting sick of the whole, oh, I have a weapon that you cannot see. I'm gonna put in my mask and I'm gonna beat you. I find that shit kind of boring and repetitive, but I guess that's part of their whole storyline that I'm not really paying much attention to. But the match itself for WrestleMania was sick. I also know that originally it was meant to be Rey Mysterio and that he suffered a last minute injury during the SmackDown episode, so that's unfortunate. But Ray Phoenix was a good cover up, and considering that I think they ended up kind of intertwining the two wrestlers on SmackDown first in the underage giant Memorial Battle Royal, and I believe they also had a tag team match, which is where Rey Mysterio got injured. So at least it worked out, right? Now, this next battle, bro. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair, absolute stinker, bro. This match just didn't work, man. Like it was so bad. I feel like they just both were doing their own things, and there was no chemistry. They were just following the plot, I guess, and you could tell they were just trying to get through it. So it wasn't a fun watch. I think I honestly kind of zoned out for majority of it. I am glad that Tiffany Stratton won, and that's all I have to say about that. Now for the main event, I think it was a good way to close night one of WrestleMania. I honestly, after WrestleMania weekend kind of finished for me at least, right? I kind of wish this match closed night two, and that John Cena versus Cody Rhodes closed night one. Because this match, it truly felt like a main event. It was just larger than life characters just doing their trademarks, and it was a fun match. It felt like a bloodline rules match, like with Roman Reigns. It just felt like another Roman Reigns match, and I feel like Roman Reigns matches at WrestleMania, even though they're just sport fueled and stuff like that, it always ends up being a good watch. So, the main event for night one was probably one of my favorite matches out of all of WrestleMania this year. Overall, from what I watched the show, I've heard people say that the War Raiders New Days match was decent, but it was just like an ad placement for the Clash of Clans partnership. So that's something. I feel like the Jey Uso versus Gunther match, it probably was a good way to start the card. I have heard that people are, they don't like the way the match ended, and that has become like a polarizing moment. But I feel like with Gunther, it doesn't matter that he loses at WrestleMania, just because he's just so good at what he does. Like, I honestly don't care if he wins or loses. That's how good Gunther is. I just like to see him perform. But that's just my take, right? But apparently a lot of people were offended by how that match went. And I didn't watch the Jade Cargill versus Naomi, but I think from what I've heard, it was pretty good. It's just that yeah, I think that there was no negative connotations actually. I think it was just pretty good. But from what I saw, I'd give it like a. In terms of rewatchability, I probably wouldn't watch the whole show, but I'll definitely watch the main event again. That's for like certain. I'll definitely come back to just watch one match. So yeah, it's probably not a good look, but it's something, I guess. Now for night two. I'm just trying to recall the matches that I see here. Alright, yeah. The start of this card was phenomenal. Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky versus Bianca Belair, solid matchup. Honestly, this is up there for one of my favorite WrestleMania matches this year. This is just a good match. You can't go wrong with this match. So I'm definitely gonna rewatch this for sure. So that's already a plus for night two. And I believe next was either I think it was Priest. Wait, let me see. Yeah, okay, so it was Priest. Okay. The next match was Drew McIntyre versus Damien Priest. I like this match. It wasn't anything to write home about, but it did its job. It was interesting, it was cool, and I love the ending with how Drew McIntyre won this match. It was very vicious. Nothing much to say, but in terms of replayability, I'll definitely go back to see this match. The next bout, I believe, was this fatal four-way for the Intercontinental Championship. It was actually a really nice match, and I'm very happy with the way Dominic Mysterio won. I'm just glad he won. I like Dominic Mysterio. So in terms of rewatchability, just for that moment of seeing Dominic Mysterio have his like moment at WrestleMania, that's definitely replayability moment for me. So I'll definitely go back and watch that in the future, you know. And I believe, what was the order again? Yeah, I talked about that. Yeah, so it was that. So yeah, as you saw there, Randy Orton versus fucking Joe Hendry, bro. To be honest, I wouldn't go back to watch this match, but I'm just so happy that Joe Hendry has a WrestleMania moment, man. That guy's been through it. Just he's been just grinding. I remember when he first appeared on NXT, I was like amazed, I was shocked. And then he appeared on Royal Rumble and I was even more happy. And the fact now he's in WrestleMania, it's one of those moments where you're glad you're watching the moment and you're proud for the people involved, but in terms of rewatchability, I wouldn't go back to watch that match. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul kind of falls into the same boat. In the moment, it was good. It definitely is a solid match, but for me personally, I wouldn't go back to watch that. And the women's tag team championship match, I think, in my opinion, it's probably one of the weaker matches for me. So I wouldn't go to replay this match at all. And the only thing good about it is that Becky Lynch returned. That was like the only moment, but to be honest, she was kind of like I don't know, it just didn't seem that she fit in to the match at all, to be honest. But it was a cool moment seeing Valkyria and Becky Lynch team up because they're both, from Ireland, I believe. So that was pretty cool. So like it was cool, but I wouldn't watch it again. As for the main event, John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. The only thing good about this match is the ending. I just like the fact that John Cena actually won, that he's a heel, that he's the new benchmark for WWE in terms of championship reigns. But I honestly kind of wish this main evented night one. So yeah, so basically overall, for WrestleMania, particularly night one, night two, it was mid. It was mid, but I do think that it's kind of hard to top what happened last year, just because last year happened so organically. I feel like this year it was forced in terms of the hype. Like we kind of had to force ourselves. Even WWE kind of had to force the matches here to seem like it's worth watching. It didn't. It just didn't match last year, but that's an unfair comparison. I think it did its job for feeling like a once in a lifetime moment, just like a special moment per year. At least it filled its purpose this year. But yeah, it wasn't a good show. But this is why I saved this last. This technically was the first pay-per-view to air for WrestleMania Weekend. But this one, bro, Stand and Deliver 2025 was fucking amazing, bro. I feel like if you were itching for a show that met the hype, you really need to watch 2025 Stand and Deliver. The matches in here are incredible. I don't even want to like say who won or spoil the matches. I just want to say, like, if you feel underwhelmed, definitely watch this show. This show was fucking incredible. This main event was amazing. There were like so many good matches. The pacing was actually decent. That's something that WrestleMania Night 1 and Night 2 kind of lacked. Was the pacing was just kind of dog shit. Some matches kind of got more airtime when they really shouldn't, and it just kind of felt bland. But with NXT, I feel like the pacing was really good. The first bout, I'm not gonna say what it is because I really do hope you guys who watch this video watch the show. But the first match, it done its purpose. It was a slow build, ended at a crescendo. Right person won. Then the second bout was just so energetic. It was so good. And then I forgot what the rest of the matches were in order, but it's just like so you had a slow build, it got very energetic. Then it met the hype. Like it was getting stagnant in terms of hype, but it still felt good. And then it goes up again. Then it stays there again. It's like a step. Like each match actually does its purpose, and it just ends very well. And I was so shocked that they managed to make the last match, like I think it was a 3 hour show, to really be the most energetic match. That was incredible for me. So yeah, that's all I have to say about WrestleMania weekend. So, ironically, WrestleMania fucking sucked. But the thing to write home about is NXT. NXT Stand and Deliver was fucking amazing, and I really hope anyone who watches this video gives it a watch. It's such a good fucking show, bro. Well, that's it for me. But